Did he have any inspiration into your hair?
Um, no, so well, I'm from St. Louis, so locks has been you hear me, it's been a style for, in St. Louis, like for years. My family had, a lot, some call them dreadlocks, you hear me, but my family has had dreadlocks, for years. Wayne started off with braids, you know what I'm saying? But like, in St. Louis, it's actually something that's prominent. You hear me? But I do think Wayne inspired a lot of other people though, for sure. Cause the length of your hair tells a story. When people look at my locks, you can tell when I walk in a room or walk in a place that there's a story there. And don't get me wrong, there's people that have long hair too. A lot of y'all be cheating. I be knowing. I be seeing y'all stop that cheating. Stop faking your journey. You hear me? Let it grow. Let it do what it's designed to do. Me, it's designed to do like this. So my hair's a story. And throughout the years though, as I evolved, my inspiration drew more um, from Rastafarianism. The Marleys, the as far as me letting it mat up, and like I don't even get my locks retwisted no more. It just is what it is at this point. So I don't even sit. I don't sit. I used to sit down and let a beautician like dissect my hair. I don't do that. I believe that we're plants, and your hair is one of the only free things that you have. This is one of the only liberating things you have. So let it be liberated. Let it go whatever direction you want to go in. So when I'm gonna grow it until it falls out. You know what I'm saying? If the hairline recedes, I'm cool with that. If whatever, I'm cool with it. I like that.
And how long is the length that those in the audience see on camera here? How long is the, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Not how long is the length. How long have you been growing the length we see on camera
Yeah,
currently?
this 19 years. It'll be 20 years in a couple months. And I started from a fade, so it was I started from a fade. Um, when I was in junior high, I got into a bad fight and I got my head busted. I had to get 16 staples in my head. So there's a gash in my head right there. So when I started growing my hair, a big part of it was an attempt to cover up the gash in my head. Um, but again, now it's just become me. When I leave this earth in 300 years, I believe that they're going to put my hair, my bandana, my rings into a glass in a museum. Because it's me. Like, I don't even like me wearing clothes is cool, but I feel like long as I have the things that make me me, it doesn't even matter what I got on. You hear me?
Now, as far as the maintenance of your hair, of course, maintenance can be different for everyone. Do you literally do anything at all at this point aside from just letting it grow?
Water, sunlight. Don't get me wrong. Like when I'm in the gym, you hear me, my hair sweats. So of course I gotta go get it washed at times, get a detox. Apple cider vinegar rinse. Um, but I try to keep it as natural as possible. Like I use like coconut oil. You hear me, like essential oils in my hair. But I believe, you know, the uh, the length that I've been able to achieve has been contributed to the most naturalness of it. I believe the more you let people get in your hair and move this and pull this hair, you're pulling against your roots, you're pulling against your scalp. And your hair don't like that, you know what I'm saying? So I just let it do whatever, you know what I mean? And I love it. I believe it's a representation of liberation. It's a representation of consciousness, and it's a representation of God. You know what I mean? I believe, you know, made in the image of the Most High. So I believe that this his herb is like wool. So my hair is like wool.
And when it comes to your locks, this was your first and only attempt with them. You've never attempted them in the past and maybe cut them down and then start again?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So before I got shot, I was in Houston for 2 weeks, and I had twisties. So in St. Louis, you heard me. We started from twisties, but when I got her, well, when I not her, but when I got sent away for good, when I came back, um, the um, the household I was living in, they kept saying that my hair make me like a thug. So my twisties when I came back was hanging a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And this was me at 15. So I had technically started growing locks at 15, but they made me wash them out. You know what I mean? And I walked around high school with a curl in my hair. Some of y'all may know the curl me. That's very rare, but I definitely had a curl in my hair. Because I had after they had me wash my hair out and get the twisties out, it was just a fro and with no style. So then they encouraged me to put a little kit in my hair, and it was the worst thing I ever did. It like I had a mullet. But now we're here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And in regards to your hair growth, even way back when you were having someone retwist and you were taking it serious back then, maybe not as much now, maybe sounds like more of a natural approach at this point. But even way back when, did you do anything special or take anything special for your hair growth?
Nah, nothing at all. Like back then, you know, they used to use like the beeswax, you heard me, and all that. I don't even use none of that no more. It's palm roll and some oil. Um, and you know, a big part of me not really going to get my hair, like done like that, I believe it's a form of intimacy, you heard me? And, I don't let nobody get in my hair, and I always have my hair covered for the most part. I wear Tams, I wear bandanas, like, it's a spiritual thing for me, you know what I mean? Why I always have my hair covered. I wear a hat, you know. And whenever I see it as a form of intimacy. So, when I get into a relationship, or when I get married, even, that'll be the time I reveal my full, to a woman. But until then, I don't want no woman playing in my hair. And again, some people may look at it as too, like, okay, that's deep, but it ain't that serious. But for me, it's that serious. This is my journey. I can go up here and I can remember parts of me, like in each part of my hair. My hair's been with me my whole journey. So why am I finna let you play with it? This is what I got. It's been with me my whole life. And as we get older, ain't that many things gonna be with you your whole life. So I can't let nobody play in my hair.
Now, winding down the questions about hair here, you mentioned that there are some who cheat.
Yeah.
They may do extensions and weave and things of that nature, so on and so forth. What is your opinion on those that go that route to
Um,
get the look you have on camera today?
I'll say this. You heard me. Um, I'm more. When I say cheat, don't cheat your roots, right? Now, when it come down to whatever, that's on you. But your roots are you, though. You know what I mean? Your roots are you. So don't cheat your roots. So, as far as people adding stuff, I can't. Hey, some people look at it as a style. This ain't a hairstyle for me. I know it look like that. It's not a hairstyle, man. This is just an expression of my body and my spirit, my soul. Some people don't look at it like that. I just say don't cheat your roots, man. Like, your roots are important. So if you can find a way to make sure you start your locks in the most purest way, you heard me? Then you add or whatever, that's cool. You know what I mean? Now, for those people that go get a fro and start off with like Insta locks, I ain't gonna lie, I don't really respect you, in the lock community. You heard me? You can't sit with us, man. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. And everybody around, like, when you look at my a lot of my team, a lot of the people, my brethren, my sister I have around me, my tribe, my community, a lot of people have locks. And it's a running joke with people. Just, it's a running joke all over. Like, my fans, all they like, man, in order to be around AJ McQueen, you gotta have locks. It's not true. Um, what happens though is, and I'm not saying, you see a lot of my people, some of them already had locks before they met me, you know what I mean? But there is like, if you go look at my past relationships, every woman I was with had locks, you know what I mean? Only one had it, and the rest got locks eventually. And there's a reason for that. And I know I get credit for it, but I don't want credit for that. I think that okay, I'll say it like this. The only credit that I will take is the credit of encouraging a person to um, go deeper within themselves. You know, sometimes it looks like locks. Sometimes it looks like a fro. Sometimes it looks like embracing your natural hair. Sometimes it looks like less makeup. Sometimes it looks like, minimalism. Sometimes it looks like eating better. Sometimes it looks like giving more and serving the community. Sometimes it looks like uh, being raw and but that's what happens when you encounter me. If you're around me too long, something's going to happen. That's just a fact. This is 100% fact. If you're your authentic, if you are your real self around me, if you fake, you hear me, then you can uphold that thing, you just fake. But if you're real, your raw self around me, something's gonna happen. And for a lot of people, it looked like locks. It looked like them saying, look, I'm embracing, and it's interesting how consciousness, uh, how locks is a symbol of consciousness, um, because I believe it's a reflection of what's happening in her. It's so it ain't that I have a mandate on people to get locks, but I do have a mandate, or I encourage you to go deeper within yourself, get closer to God. That may look like locks to you. It may look like, man, I don't want to eat pork no more. It may look like, man, you hear me? I want to listen to better music. So I'm glad you asked those questions, because I've never been able to say that on an interview. But no, I don't. Even in relationships, like, don't get me wrong, a woman with locks is my weakness. You hear me? But it's to say for just a woman that embrace her natural energy in general, though. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a woman with a baldy. You know what I'm saying? That look beautiful as hell. You hear me? So I'm not a fan of weave. You know what I mean? And not because I feel like it has anything to do with the woman's beautification. I just all I'll ask a woman and encourage a woman to do is just make sure you know you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, do whatever enhances you, you know what I mean? But just know deep down inside you don't need it, because it's a reflection on how you feel about yourself on the inside. And if you don't love yourself, you can't love me anyways. So that's why I don't want a woman, with weave. It has nothing to do with the weave. It's how you feel about yourself is how you gonna feel about me. So if you have to change your whole image in order to be in front of me, then we wouldn't work anyways. So in my relationships, I've encouraged women I've been with to embrace their natural state. And whether some relationships are, well, I'm single now, so all of these are past tense. Whether they say it or admit it or not, I know they appreciate me for that. Because every man they had prior to that made them feel like they needed you need the eyelash, the weave, that even a BBL for that reason. I just don't feel like you need anything. But I don't knock people that enhance themselves. Hey, do what makes you feel good, but just deep down inside, when you look yourself in the mirror and you by yourself, know that you don't need nothing but God.
Do you look at enhancements like BBLs and things of that nature as catfishing, perhaps?
Um, yeah, but you catfishing yourself though. I don't even think you catfishing. You're catfishing yourself. You know, again, beautification is a real thing. Men do it. You hear me? Men, you got men out here getting all enhancements and all that. And again, what a person does for themselves in their own journey, who am I to say, right? But I just encourage, like the whole BBL thing, like, again, how you feel about yourself is how you're gonna feel about the world, how you're gonna feel about everybody else. So that's why I'm not a encourager or a champion of the BBL movement, and not because I want to police a woman's body, because I think a woman should be able to do what she wants to do, by the way. Um, but when it comes down to us combining our energies, you hear me? What it looks like me, I'm embracing the most natural parts of myself, and you can't go out the house without feeling like you need to put your body needs to be perfect. Like, we wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, we wouldn't work, right? And but I actually look at that, and I actually hold men more accountable than I do the women in that regard. You know what I'm saying? That's just me, because I do feel like um, whether women want to admit it or not, a lot of the things, not all the things, but a lot of things that women do are because they feel pressured by the patriarchal society to do it. You hear me? So, and I think that that's a result of being with or around or raised by men who don't love themselves, and they project that on women. And now a woman feel like she has to have the fattest ass, the biggest titties, the biggest lips to be able to be loved. And on the behalf of men, and I apologize, saying to the women on that, because I don't like that. You hear me? And don't get me wrong, you have the women who's like, no, I'm doing this for myself. I'll do it, whatever. I don't believe you. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you can say that all you want to. I think that something happened to where you feel like you need this to be beautiful. You hear me? And that's why I make the music I make, and I speak how I speak, because I want to tell you, you don't need that to be beautiful. You hear me? But it's definitely not my type. And again, not because a woman's not beautiful physically, it's because if you feel like you needed a bigger ass to walk in this room or to sit next to me, because I'm in the house, or in the mirror, looking at my height, my dick size, and accepting all of it. So how could I be with a woman that's not accepting what she look like? I've accepted everything. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this is the tallest I'm gonna get. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm working with. Hey, I love it. We here. So how can we make a legacy? How can we, you hear me, build that way? If you are fighting your design, you hear me, you're fighting your natural ability. You look in the mirror and you're not pleased, you're not happy. And here I am, I'm sitting there happy as hell. But I don't attack women for that reason. That's why I make them mute. That's why I speak how I speak. I'm not sitting here condemning at all, because it's all spiritual.
Now, I do want to tie some loose ends here with some other things you mentioned during this conversation. You mentioned junior high, I believe, and a high school. Care to share where you attended back in those days as well?
Yeah, I went to Berkeley um, Junior High in St. Louis. You hear me? And then, but well, I went to Miller Intermediate when I was in Houston for 2 years, and then I went back to Berkeley. Um, and then after I got shot, I got sent away, and I went to Elsick High School for 2 days. I got kicked out of Elsick. They mascot and they school colors was blue. And I just had a lot going on at that time. I got in a fight on the first day of school, and then they transferred me. So I ended up going to Hastings, to the school of the black and gold. You heard me? And I was there. Yeah.
You also mentioned there are some brothers and sisters that are part of your team. Are you just using that phrase figuratively or literally, biologically, you do incorporate some of your family members on your staff,
Um,
for lack of a better phrase?
yeah, definitely figuratively and spiritually, but physical wouldn't make us closer. You heard me? I believe that I I did a video a while back. I said, in order to find your soul, in order to find your soul tribe, you have to forgive your real tribe. In order to find your soulmate, you have to forgive the mates that were embedded into your soul. So my brethren, my family are the people that I chose. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to. I believe there is a testament, there's a story in accepting the things you couldn't choose. And until you embrace those, until you learn the lessons in the family members you had no choice over, you will not be able to see the beauty and embrace and the ones that God has given you. That's just my philosophy on it.
Now, you've also mentioned a few other things here. You mentioned like spirituality and God and Rastafarian and just a plethora of other maybe phrases here during the course of this conversation. For all intents and purposes, though, do you follow religion by any chance at this point in your life?
Um, follow. No, I don't follow a specific religion. But I want to be clear. You know what I mean? I believe in the gospel. You know what I'm saying? I believe in Jesus Christ. You hear me? But I don't subscribe to being a Christian though. And for some people that's like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense to me. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I have a Christian foundation. You know what I mean? Like the family I spent a lot of time with when I got sent away. You hear me? They were a Christian household. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that part of my journey, because it's literally the building blocks that I stand on. But I've also read the Quran. You know what I'm saying? I read the Bible. I've studied Confucius. Um, um, I've studied Rastafarianism. And I believe when you get to a place in your life where you are able to unpack and repack, that's when you know you are yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not living out of a suitcase that somebody else packed for you. You hear me? A lot of people are, you know. But I unpacked, and as I unpacked on my journey, I was able to repack. You know what I mean? But I don't follow specific religion. Um, the man-made systems and the divisive concepts and the religious rhetoric. I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm too hood for the church, but I'm also too good for the hood. So I made my own space. You know what I mean? And um, um, it's been that's you know it's been beautiful. I've been challenged on it a lot. But I do want to say this: nobody ever don't come try to challenge me on that Bible though. You know what I'm saying? I know that word though. I know that word. You know what I'm saying? I'm a licensed minister for the sake of religion, right? I'll just run my credentials. I'm a licensed minister, a licensed evangelist. I've been a deacon before. I've been an armor bearer. I've held a briefcase and held water and used to wipe the pastor's face when he sweat. I've served, but I believe that there's a tapestry of religion where, for me, where you take those tools and you apply them to humanity. You know what I mean? I don't want to go hide in the four walls of the church. You know what I mean? I don't want to go do church with church people. You hear me? We called to reach the lost, called to be a light in darkness. You know what I mean? We called to be righteous. We called to care for the fatherless, the homeless, the widows, and to keep ourselves unspotted from the world. So I don't subscribe to religious practices, but don't get me wrong though. There are a lot of religious practices that I adhere to because I respect those practices. You hear me? And I respect the principles behind those. So, giving is a principle of mine, regardless. You hear me? I don't need to go to your church to give. I'm going to give. Um, um, don't forsake the assembly of the brethren. Some people are like, oh, well, that's why you got to go to church because the Bible say don't forsake the assembly of the brethren. Well, the Bible also say when two or three are gathered, he's in the midst. So in this room, God is here too. You hear me? Um, um, you know, um, the Bible say don't. The Bible says confess your faults to one another. So I can list principles that one would say, oh, okay, you do practice religion. Mm, the principles don't change though. God is a God of principles. You hear me? Give and it shall be given unto you is a principle. Even the wicked are blessed. And they're like, hey, man, why they got money? They talk about this because I bet you they follow principles. Honor your father and your mother. That's a principle. So I'm sorry to say that biblical principles I do submit myself to. Um, um, you know, I believe in the gospel. I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. Um, and but I've also implemented principles that I've learned from Islam. You know what I mean? And supreme mathematics. You heard me? And my family. Um, I was raised around more Scientology. You hear me? And um, you know, so some would hear this and call me an omnist. You know, one that believes in multiple things. But again, I want to be clear. I believe in the gospel. You hear me? But I would not. I don't fit none of your molds though. I used to get kicked out of churches though. I never forget. You know what I'm saying? Like I got kicked out of church multiple times. One time I was talking about social issues too much. During the offering, I used to get the microphone and talk about what's happening in the world. They used to call me rebellious soul, so that's why I got soul rebel tatted on my neck. You hear me? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I am a rebellious soul. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of God's chosen. So, but my way of life is Rasta though. So to sum all that up, take all that, boom, boom, boom. My way of life is Rasta. That's how I see the world. That's as I grow into my elder statesman. That's how I see the world. You know what I mean? And my religion is love. My religion is Godbody. My brand, my company is called Godbody Energy. So Godbody, arm, leg, arm, head, the body of God, the mouth of God, the feet of God, the hands of God, um, and and helping other people get closer to God. And I think what makes it difficult is because we live in a society that's full of labels and compartmentalized, and so it's hard to, I'm a rebellious soul because you can't put me in a box. It's like, damn, do you believe in religion a lot? No, not. It ain't that simple. You're not finna. I'm not saying you, but society. You're not finna try to put me into your trick bag of labels and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't gonna work. It,
Well, that was the reason for the question is because, especially for those in the audience that may have heard your name but haven't had a chance to dive deeper into you and your story yet, and maybe this is the first time, and they obviously have heard of Godbody as your record label, but don't know exactly what that is. And then just in conversation about your hair, they hear the phrase Rastafarian, but then they hear spirituality, and then they hear this and that. So just wanted to know what your formal stance just on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
religion was, just as a, clarification there,
Yeah,
if there
yeah, no,
was one.
I'm glad you asked that. 'Cause like I said, that's not another thing I don't get a chance to dive too deep into. I do on my socials on my own time, but yeah, man, like again, if but I want to be clear. I have nothing against the church, nothing against religion. If religion gets you closer to God, go for it. Go for it. I'm not, if church every Sunday, if praying, 6 times a day, if you have to have your prayer mat to pray and that gets you closer to God, if fasting, Daniel fast, if not eating pork, if following the 10 Commandments to the T, and all of these things gets you closer to the Most High, do it. You know what I mean? Do it. I believe that a relationship with God is unique to the individual. But I want to be clear, God is not American. So don't get so caught up in American ideals and principles that you put God in the American box. God is not American. You know what I mean? The same God is where we are, same God in the tribe in Africa somewhere. So let's not walk around with this puffed out chest of knowledge and religion to where we start downcasting the homeless and the kids and the mentally ill, and you hear me, those that don't have um, and those who can't wear clothes at leisure and eat at leisure. Like, who are we? I don't believe that that's God. So what I've created was Godbody. You know what I mean? And some may have heard of Godbody, in the crevices of New York and Wu-Tang and all that, right? That's definitely plays a role in the foundational thought pattern that I have, but then I added to it. You know what I mean? I advanced it. God is in my body. We taught that God is this extracted being that hovers around throwing lightning bolts at time. I don't see God that way. God is in me. God breathed life into humans and made humans. And the same breath that I have until this breath is gone is God. That's where God resides. And I just want to encourage everybody to embrace the God that's in their body.